From the very beginning, when you step outside into the town of Good Springs, you are greeted with, let's just close that. You're greeted with, damn it. You're greeted with eventually, you're greeted with the ambient atmosphere of the Mojave, a world that has continued living despite the destruction of its former inhabitants. Humanity was merely a footnote on the desert's long studied history. You can immediately go jump into doing various quests, engage with dialogue with some of the townfolk, or go fight for survival against the different mutated creatures you find around the starting area. Or you can walk a quieter path, exploring the wasteland and finding things others may often pass up. The noise and visuals of the wind across the desert landscape do a lot of heavy lifting in making this world feel truly alive, like it never noticed the nuclear holocaust that took place 200 years prior. When exploring the vast emptiness of the Mojave Wasteland, the decaying ruins that are scattered about are evidence and reminders of a failed system. A system that some are trying to hold on to and rebuild, simply repeating the cycle of history. These old ruins are not simply locations for you or I as the player to go find loot. They are snapshots of the old world frozen in time. These are stories that the wasteland remembers and preserves, but it refuses to share the intimate details with you. It leaves only clues for you to find and deduce for yourself what actually occurred here. All of these stories you can stumble upon in this world feel even more alive than just simply interacting with the current factions and inhabitants in the Mojave during the events of New Vegas. It tells the story of humanity, how people used to live, what their priorities were. And now it's nothing but history and a piece of the ever-evolving Mojave Desert. When wandering the Mojave, we're all generally focused on acquiring more resources for ourselves. We find weapons, we loot ammo from a corpse or a container, we purchase medical supplies. Many of us are hoarders, but what about all of those that came before us? Is the Mojave a place to build something new? Or is it a museum to what was lost? I will leave that for you to decide. But the memories of the past linger throughout this entire region like a ghost. Rising factions from both the east and the west are haunted by the achievements and the downfall of those that came before. One of my all-time favorite locations from New Vegas that I remember even 15 years later is a quiet corner located within the fences of Nellis Air Force Base. I'm sure most people who have played this have been to this location, as all of the main building's characters and quests can be found right at the entrance to Nellis. And it's, not too far away from downtown New Vegas itself. But for those with a curious mind who like to explore, they may find themselves wandering onto the eastern edge, where a quaint graveyard is located at the corner of the base. Many survivors in this harsh world perish alone, with nobody left to remember who they were. Loners buried in the sands of a desert that doesn't care to know their name. But these graves at Nellis Air Force Base, each one represents someone who used to be a survivor themselves. Each one represents a soul and a personality whose memories are carried on by the inhabitants who live at the base and who dug these graves. Those who leave a memory in the minds of others are still able to shape the world, even in death. Every quiet scene throughout the Mojave tells a story about the people that once lived here. The Wasteland does not speak to you directly. It doesn't narrate its history through a lengthy monologue or scripted events that pull the player out of the immersion of this world. Instead, it preserves the past, and it leaves the door open for a new generation of travelers to discover it. When you come across a skeletal scene trying to shout its long forgotten past, you become an impromptu archaeologist. You are free to uncover what happened here, or to simply leave its memory in the dust. When you knock over a stack of wooden blocks, or you're in an abandoned building and you trip on a toy truck, you're not looking at a set dressing. You're looking at fragments of people's lives, of a child's life. Fragments of life that ended long before you arrived. Yet the Mojave remembers them. The desert wind continues to blow through empty streets. Houses still stand where families once lived, and neighbors held backyard barbecues. The endless roads and highways still scar the landscape, reminders of daily commutes to and from work, leading to places that once meant something to society. In many ways, the Mojave itself has become a historian, preserving those final moments of a civilization that vanished 2 centuries ago. When exploring these quiet ruins, we're not always rewarded with loot or something shiny. We explore to uncover the memories that this world refuses to erase. Small reminders that the wasteland wasn't always this empty or quiet. Before that fateful day when the air raid sirens were blaring, there were people here living ordinary lives, never knowing that the desert would one day be all that remained of them. And one day, we'll become part of the desert's record as well. Fallout is often remembered for its nukes, the survival aspect, or sometimes the politics within the story. But the Mojave Desert survived long before humanity even arrived, and it will continue to survive long after we are all gone. The desert will preserve our lives and our conflicts, just as it preserved those who came before us. The families who lived in quiet homes, the workers who drove the long desert highways, the children who left their toys on bedroom floors. 200 years later, the wasteland still carries the faint echoes of the old world. As we wander through these decayed ruins, piecing together fragments of the lives left behind, we're reminded that the Mojave isn't merely about survival. It's about remembering. Howdy y'all, if you made it to the end of this video, I want to thank you for watching. I'm kind of experimenting with a different style of video here, something that I want to continue doing going into this year, into 2026, rather than just kind of sitting down and like ranting or talking off the top of my head. I would rather sit down and write some actual kind of essays out. So this is a shorter one that I'm kind of experimenting with, trying to transition into that style. So if you do like this, if you watch till the end, please do leave some feedback down below in the comments, leave a like on the video, and subscribe to this channel for more videos in the future on this. It's not always just going to be Fallout. I plan on talking about all kinds of things, from Nier Automata to Gears of War, to some anime like Sora Naruto, or different movies, things like The Road or Mad Max. So please do let me know down below what you thought of this one, and I will see you in the next video.